Yoga. Let's go ahead and get started. I made a new playlist. I think it's good. We'll find out. Because it's May and I have no idea how we got here, like halfway through the year almost, it feels like. And through this year, a thing that's been coming up a lot, I mentioned we keep talking about this idea of being with what is, and a word and a feeling that has been coming up a lot for me has been grief. And not like there's been a whole bunch of like loss and tragedy. I mean, there has been, but it's mostly just like trying to come to this processing of this feeling of losing what was. I just don't feel like she needs to put a sweater on. Because there's so much that we have lost, like our culture, our world has lost so much in the last year. And I've been coming to a place with feelings where I've been working on moving past that denial element of grief, like, all of those stages. And the one is denial. It's like pretending that you're not experiencing this thing that is, it's a change, it's a de-evolution, right? Like death does not mean like the worst thing ever. Death does not mean a complete ending. Death is a ceasing of one thing to move on to something else. So like even if as I go through that stuff, even when it's good things that you're changing and moving into, you have this place of grief. And physically this comes in a lot when we're, like I know a lot of us are kind of around that like same age bracket, I think, like around that like 30s place, like all of those things that you never thought were really going to get like older and brittle and stiffer and injured like with multiple usage, or at least I always thought that back in my 20s. Like I don't know, like somewhere in the last like 18 months I got what my friend has been calling the creakies. Like things are just like tighter and they're stiffer, and they like, I feel like I might actually have like that squeaky hinge thing going on somewhere in my body. And if I live in denial of that, if I'm like, no, it's fine, I can still, do all these crazy stretches without warming up or whatever it is, it doesn't bode well for long-term health. Like I'm not going to be able to feel properly in my skin if I do that. And I think that probably not the only one here who's kind of noticing that starts to take place. And I love the body I'm in. And I honestly love getting older. It's awesome. I have a little bit more experience to back me up when I go into uncharted territory. Got great stories to tell. Definitely do not want to go back to my 20s. So I'm learning to like love this body and love this experience, and to not be in denial of it, to take it in and say, oh, okay, that's how it was, but it's this way now. So, we did a lot of neck stuff last week because that's what I was feeling in my body. And then apparently I have really tight hips that need some side body lengthening. So we're going to do a lot of that today. Really getting into a long spine. I want to work up towards having a really, really beautiful, long downward dog. So get your space ready. If you haven't already, go ahead and sit up on something. I'm sitting on a little cushion. We're going to start off with our face brushing. Take your index finger and thumb together, the squishy spot at the bottom of your thumb, brush outwards towards your temples a few times. And then going from the sides of your nose out to your temples, on your cheekbones. Going from your temples down to your chin, along your jawline. And then going from the sides of your nose down to your chin along your laugh line. Okay. And then massaging underneath and behind your ears. So those squishy spots, and then the bony spots that are up above the squishy spots, and then lifting up on your head from those bony spots. Trying to keep that lift as you drop your hands down into your lap. Asking yourself as you settle into your breath and into your body, setting an intention, maybe it's more of a question. It's, can I be with where my body is right now? Can I let go of my attachments to what it may have been before or what I wish it was now? Can I be with what it really is now? And take a nice big breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Again, like that. For 3, Om. And start to blink your eyes open. As we're gonna start moving into our practice here, go ahead and check that you're muted. I love that I could hear you, Om. That was really cool. We might initiate that for future things. It's nice to feel like you're there again. But yeah, thanks for hitting that mute button. We're gonna take the feet towards each other and then knees out wide. And I want you to bring your feet a little bit further forward than you might usually in this shape. So you're gonna be a little bit longer. And then you're gonna come forward until you start to feel a little bit of a stretch, like maybe like 20-25% of what you would really feel a good stretch in, so you're not really overextending yourself. I want you to come to a place you can feel something, but it's not super intense. And then relax your spine. So what I mean by that is allow it to extend forward rather than like pushing yourself in, yeah? So I've got a little bit of a round in the lower back. All of the energy in the torso is going forward. I'm using my arms to support myself. I've got my hands in the soles of my feet. Yours might be in a different place. We're just gonna spend a good while kind of relaxing the body forward. So I'm gonna loosen up the lower back a little here. Over time, you might notice that your heart is dropping down ever so slightly closer towards the floor. You might even, after some time, have some space to put your elbows on your shins. And that might not be now, and that might not be ever. Be here for about 5 more breaths and really let yourself soften into this. Don't go looking for it, let it find you. You finish up that next breath, start to walk yourself back in. I'm gonna bring your legs in a little bit closer now, and then reach your arms up. Get a little bit taller. Inhale. On your exhale, take your right hand down and then reach your left hand up as you relax your left hip down. You might even think of kind of dropping that knee down so your legs are a little asymmetrical. One more exhale. And coming up through the center, try to lift up long through both sides and then take your left hand down. You're gonna reach the right arm up and over. Maybe you even tilt over a little bit and drop the right knee down more than the left knee is reaching down. One more exhale. And then come up through the center, get a little bit taller. On your exhale, side bend over towards the right again. And now this time, relax your shoulder blade a little bit more forward than you might normally. So maybe you do start to fold inwards, but don't try to fold inwards, but if it starts to happen, it's okay. Maybe you can get that hip or that knee down a little bit more. And come on up, inhale. Exhale, bending over towards the left. And a little bit more than you usually do, taking that shoulder blade forward. Big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, lift it up. And then go ahead and scoot your feet maybe a little bit forward, not as much as it was before. And we're gonna fold forward again into this bound angle or cobbler's pose, your butterfly stretch, whatever you wanna call it. Thinking of a nice relaxed lower back. We'll only be here for 2 more breaths this time. You can maybe seek out a little bit more stretch on this one. One more exhale. And then start to lift yourself up. You're gonna come into your hands and knees, and if you have maybe a hard floor, I want you to put a folded up towel or extra fold your mat under your knees. You have yoga blocks that you might want to have handy, or your substitute item that's like a yoga block. You can maybe find that. We're going to take a couple of cat and cow. Inhale, looking up, drop your belly. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your tail. Inhaling, cow. Exhaling, cat. Balance the weight through your hands. Use your fingertips, not just your wrists. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round. Then 2 more. On your own breath. On your next inhale, coming back towards a more neutral spine, you're going to take your right hand a handprint forward and then slide your right heel back. Gosh, right side. I'm like, which am I mirroring? I don't even know most of the time. Okay, so you've got same arm and leg are extended longer, yeah? And then go ahead and rock back and forth on your heel, giving a little bit of foot stretching, maybe a little calf stretching as you go. And then you're going to take your right toes, you're going to slide them over to the left behind you, look over towards them, push down stronger into your right hand and feel your hip kind of pressing outwards towards the right side. So long stretch through that side. One more exhale. And come on out of it, bring your right knee down, bring your right hand back in, and then it's your left hand that goes about a handprint forward, and you slide the toes back on the floor. And then do some rocking front to back. Kind of working out through that foot. And you're going to take the foot and cross it back behind you and push more into your left hand so that outer hip starts to open. Big breath in. Big breath out. Then come back to the center. Put both knees down. Widen your knees, in fact, and then start to slide your hips back and do a little rocking side to side when you get there so that your pelvis starts to loosen up in the back, that you get a little bit more space to relax the spine. If you feel like you still makes a little more sense, you can start to be more. And then lift your head, look forward. You're gonna come up onto your fingertips so your wrists are lifted up. And then you're gonna creepy crawl your hands forward until your hips start to get up a little bit higher. And then you're gonna rest your head down again and then reach your hips back away from your hands and maybe they end up pulling back a little bit more.
or it just feels kind of difficult and maybe a little bit tense in your shoulders. So try to relax the inner shoulders. One more breath. And release your arms.
Go ahead and look up, lift up, come forward. You're gonna bring the knees back in. You're gonna take your right foot outside of your right hand. And then you're gonna start to walk your hands forward.
So we're getting a big stretch to the underside of the right thigh. With the knees doing wonky things, press down into your foot. So you're gonna kind of engage that right leg a little bit more. Now that you've got your legs engaged, can you relax your head? Maybe wiggle the fingertips out a little bit more. Maybe you're already like, man, this is really intense. I think I'm gonna stay here. And that's what you do. Soften with your next exhale. And do that again. Inhale. Use your exhale to soften. And walk your hands
back in. And you're gonna turn, I'm gonna turn to face you. You're gonna turn your right knee and toe out to the side, and then you're gonna come down to sit on your hip. So, like so. Yes, good. As I throw my earbud out of the way. So you're on the same side you were just where you had your right foot forward. I'm gonna come up onto your left hand, and then you're gonna roll your hips forward until you start to feel all of this opening up. Ta-da! You can just be very, I don't know, like lounging on the Chase Lounge in the 1920s. Not to be confused with the 2020s. I'm really waiting for the lounging on Chase Lounge's time of this decade though. One more exhale. And then you're gonna roll back over and you're gonna come back into the lunge that you just came from. Okay? So I know I'm facing a different way, but I'm just gonna go to that spot. Okay? And then you're gonna wiggle the foot in a little bit more. Come up with your arms. Good. Right, so I've got my hips in front of my back knee. If you need to wiggle your foot forward, you can do that.
Interlace your fingers, but the index fingers point up. Get taller as you breathe in. Push into the front foot. Exhale, side bend over towards the right. Inhale, come up. Keep pulling that right hip back. Smaller side bend over towards the left. And then inhale, lift up.
And exhale, take the hands back down. Go ahead and bring your right leg back. I'm gonna turn around again because, yeah. And then you're gonna take your left foot forward. Probably the way I should have started. So you're gonna stay here where you've got your knee up above your ankle, and it's fine if your hips don't go super far forward.
We're gonna walk the arms out forward. Try to relax your head. One more exhale.
Start to walk it back. You're going to turn your knee and your toe out. You probably have to scooch it back a little bit. You're going to come down to sit on your hip. You might need to move this foot. That's absolutely fine. It's what you do in order to get into the right space. And then you're going to relax your hip down so you start to get that stretch all on the underside here. Remember, you got to roll forward a little bit more, because if you kind of back here, you'll miss it. You want to roll the body forward. Oh, there it is. One more exhale. And then you're going to roll it back into the lunge. You're going to bring your foot in a little bit more than it was, and probably forward a little bit more than it was, and then reach your arms up. Leave the index fingers out.
interlace the other fingers, get taller, breathe in, exhale, side bend over towards the left. Keep pushing down in that front foot. It's gonna help your balance. And then inhale up through the center, littler side bend over towards the right, because that's the hard one. And come on up, bring your hands down, bring your leg back. We're gonna come into downward dog a couple of times today. I won't do really big visits, but start shaking your fingertips out. Spread your palm down, shake the other fingertips out, spread your palm down, push from your armpits into your palms, feel that space behind your back, and then you're gonna curl your toes, lift those hips up. Now get up all the way high on your toes and push so strong from your armpits to your hands that your hips get up higher. And you can have bent knees here, that's fine. Let's start to release your heels down, maybe still feeling your hips stay up high. Just observe this dog. Check it out, see how it feels. I'm gonna wiggle it around a little bit. Come back to stillness, that's great. Let's just take one more breath. Go ahead and lay yourself, or drop your knees back down, and then you're gonna lay yourself down on your back. When you get there, reach your arms and legs out nice and long. We're going to take Bananasana again, so take your right ankle over onto your left ankle, hold your right arm with your left hand over on the left side, and then keep trying to release your right hip down towards the floor. Try to soften your inner right shoulder. Can you even wrap your belly button a little bit? Not like a super crazy crunch, but can you wrap your belly button like it's kind of going to slide over to the right and then drop down into the floor? Even like it just scooches to the right like an inch and then just falls right down underneath you. One more exhale. And then release that right side. Go ahead and expand yourself out again. Just reaching long. And then your left ankle on your right ankle and hold your left hand with your right hand, relaxing your hip down and then feeling the belly button. It's just like an inch over and then dropping straight back down. So a little core work. One more exhale. Relax your arms, uncross your legs, in fact you're going to take the heels up nice and close to your hips. But then wiggle them wider than your hips. You can hold on to your elbows if you like. You're going to flex the feet and drop both knees over towards the right. Feel your left knee reaching away from you, and then if you can, try to draw your hip point up more towards your belly button. Oh, middle of the quad. A little bit of core work. Flexing feet to keep the knees in line, the alignment protected. Still breathing, even if you're lifting that hip point up towards your belly button. One more exhale. And then knees back up, going over towards the other side. So keeping those toes flexed towards your shins, reach that right knee away, and then the right hip point starts to magnetize up towards the belly button. And the elbows and the shoulders just start to float away back behind you. One more exhale. And then take the legs back up. You're going to grab onto your right leg, and what you might do is actually hold onto it behind the thigh if you notice that you need a little bit more space once we get here. Because I want you to not worry about this right leg quite as much as you extend the left leg out and forward. And when you try to get the leg straight, if you can't get the leg straight, that's fine, but you're going to push out through the sole of the foot. So even if my leg is bent and I push out through the sole of the foot, it's still going to actively open this front of the left hip. So you're going to relax the right one as much as possible and feel the energy extending out through the left one. So we're really opening up those hip flexors,
Lengthening through the front of that hip. A little bit of pat in the belly, rubbing the head to relax the right leg as you're extending actively through the left. One more breath. Relax the left leg and go ahead and tuck it in. Set the right one down and then hold your left one in. And then the action now is in that right leg. So I'm trying to relax this one as much as possible. I'm not trying to tuck it in really close to me. I'm just holding on. The right leg pressing forward through the sole of the foot. Okay. One more breath out. And you're gonna go ahead and drop the feet, bring the knees in, knock your knees against each other, and just drop your arms down for a moment. Take 2 deep breaths. And take your arms up so that your palms are up above your face. Spread your fingertips out. Try to press the heels of your hands upwards towards the ceiling without lifting your arm bones up. So can you in fact bring your shoulders down and push your heart down to the floor as you're pushing the hands right up into the ceiling? I should maybe get a little bit strong. It might feel a little bit hard to do after a moment. One more exhale. Relax a little bit. Now you're going to take the legs up, and the legs don't have to be straight, but I want you to feel that you are pushing your feet upwards towards the ceiling. Is this on fire? Good, you're doing it right. And you're also pushing your heart down towards the floor as you push your hands up without lifting the arm bones up. You're not lifting the shoulders up. They don't have to be completely smashed into the floor, but they're not like up here, right? So you're pushing it away like it's going to fall on you, and then you're still breathing. And try to push the insides of your heels up a little bit more because you might have a little bit of rolling outwards. Insides of the heels. One more exhale. And then release it. And rock around a little bit. And drop your feet. Take your hands, cast some spells, roll some fingers and wrists around. Do it in the other direction. And then roll it over, downward facing dog. So come on up, plant your hands down, spread your fingers out, push down into the floor, curl your toes under, lift your hips up. Up high on your toes again, feel your hips reaching up and away from the floor because you're pressing so hard into your whole arms. And then feel the hips stay lifted up long to that lower back as you release your heels in the direction of the floor. Try to release the inner heels too. One more exhale. And then lower your knees. You're going to keep the toes curled under. Walk your hands back to your knees. You can stay here. You can even decide that you don't want to do this part, but maybe you amp it up a little bit more by interlacing the palms, pressing them up towards the ceiling, relaxing your hips down and back. I know. Get up a little bit taller, press those palms up, breathe in. Exhale, relax those hips back. One more, we can do it. And then let it go. Okay, you're gonna untug your toes for a moment to give them a little break. And then tuck them back under. We're gonna go back to downward dog. Curl it under, press it up and back. Ooh-wee. Good. This will be the last one for a while. Big breath in. Big breath out. Feet up towards the hands, hands back towards the feet, finding a forward fold, relaxing the back of your neck. You can bend your knees always and forever here. One more exhale. Then keep your knees bent, maybe bend them if they weren't already, and then you're going to roll up, trying to let your head come last and your spine be loose. And then when you get up, you're going to I'll mirror you, take your right leg and cross it back behind your left. You're going to reach up and hold on to your right wrist, bump your hips over to the right, and then you're going to reach out long into the side bend. Push into that back foot. Big breath in. Big breath out. Come on up. You're going to keep your legs crossed. We're going to fold forward. And if you can, you're going to walk your hands over towards the left side. You might even just bring both of your hands over towards the left side on your legs. So you don't have to be all the way forward. You can always put your hands on blocks or the dog instead of trying to get down towards the floor. Oh, I said we're over towards the floor. Can you let your right leg, your back leg, it's going to kind of lean over through that right hip, the back hip. One more exhale. And come back to the center. This is going to be weird. We don't usually do this. I want you to try to keep the knees a little bit bent and the head relaxed as you roll up. Oh my gosh, that was way harder than I had kind of thought it would be. We don't usually do that. Let's do it on the other side. Cross the leg over. If that one wasn't hard, the other side might be hard. You might just be a pro at all of this, and I'm the only one who's disoriented. So take your arm up, bump your hips over, and then get up and over, push stronger into that back foot. Beauteous. One more big breath in. Exhale. And come on up and fold it forward. And you're going to bring your body over towards the right side. Maybe you lean that back leg, that back hip over towards the left a little more, rather away from your hands. Spatial orientation maybe making more sense than right and left most of the time, especially if your limbs are crossed and you're not sure if I even know what the heck I'm talking about. One more exhale. You come back to the center. Little bend in the knees, which makes it even more awkward, but you got to do that for the sake of your back, and then you're going to roll yourself up. Oh, man. And then uncross your legs. We'll go wide legs here. You're going to turn your knees and toes out slightly. Take your hands to your hips. Pull your hips back, bend into your right leg. One more exhale. And then stand it up. And you're going to bend into your left leg, pulling both hips back. Inhale. Exhale. Come on up. We're going to do it again. You can take your hands to your heart. You can take your hands to the floor. You could take your hips to the floor. So that might look like this, or like this, or coming a little bit further, like so. And I might have to wiggle a little bit to get that heel down. Most intense would be here. One more exhale. I would recommend putting your hands down to transfer over towards the other side. I find it very intense to do that without my hands on the floor. Remember our options, which you could stop at any one of those was a good stretch. As long as you're breathing, you are doing perfect yoga. You're doing magnificent yoga. There's no such thing as perfect yoga. Exhale. And then come back up to the center. I mean, like perfect, like you don't need to fix anything. There we go. Wow, words are weird. One more exhale, and relax those knees. We're gonna roll it up again. Kind of want to inspire my spine to feel a little bit more fluid, because it doesn't always. Yeah. We're gonna transfer into warrior two. So turn your toes over towards the right, bend into your right leg, take your arm up. Take peaceful warrior, lifting it up for a nice long inhale. And then exhale, coming forward, side angle. And I'm going to pull your hips back slightly because there's a good chance you kind of rested out a little bit. So not taking my hips back, just a little bit. Of this thigh bone, can you release it towards your back foot? And then push into the back foot, get longer on that side body. Big exhale. Lift it up, straighten the front leg. We're gonna shift the hips, coming into triangle. And then if you can, I want you to reach this top arm up and over. So as much as you're reaching from the outer armpit out to those fingertips, pushing to the back foot, you're also pulling this bottom thigh bone towards the back foot. One more exhale. And then lift it up. Good. You might have a block or something, or you might move your space so that you have something in front of you and you can come into half moon. I would recommend that it's not the wall because I want you to try to reach your arm over your head. Okay? So come on up. You're going to stand up on your right leg here, and then you're going to come into half moon. Strong lifted leg. You can totally bend the standing leg, and you try to reach your arm up and over. One more exhale. Oh my gosh. And then stand back up. Whew. All right. Shake things, wiggle them out if they got strange. And then widen your feet back out, and we're going to shift over to the left side. So all the toes facing over a little bit. Bend the knee, warrior two. Let the exhale out. Nice long inhale to come upwards. Peaceful warrior. And then exhaling, coming forward, side angle. So you're gonna rest those hips back towards the back foot. Yes. The top shoulder, push into the back foot. One more exhale. And then take it up, straighten the legs, shift the hips, and come forward, triangle pose. Trying to reach that top arm up and over, which really intensifies the hamstring situation here, I must admit. We're not trying to stack the hips, we're releasing those hips back. Push into the back foot. Inhale. Exhale. And come on up. You might need to move again, grab stuff, move it over to where you want it to be. We're gonna come into half moon on this side. Oh, this is gonna be weird. Yeah, I gotta bend into my standing leg on my right leg with my hands on the floor. Reach it up and over. Strong lifted leg. Woo-wee. One more exhale. Stand it back up. Gonna bring your feet in. So you gotta come back to your space, come back to your sit. In fact, let's go towards the front of our mat here. The mat that I've thrown around a lot. I'm gonna work back towards downward facing dog. Yes, take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Now check out your feet. You want them a little bit wider than 2 fist-width distance apart. Relax your head. You're gonna bend more into your right leg so your left hip gets a little sassy, and then take your left arm up. Let this twist open up. Exhale. And switch sides. Bend more into your left leg. Push that right hip out. Open up into the twist. Big exhale. And 2 hands down. Bend your knees. Try to relax your neck. Maybe kind of loosen it out a little bit here. Halfway lifting here, really think of the heart coming forward. Let your hamstrings lengthen. Big breath in. Exhale, take it down again. Let things soften. And plant your hands, step back into downward facing dog. See if it feels any different than when we began. One more exhale. And lower your knees down. Might pad your knees up a little bit if you need any more support. You're going to take your right foot forward again. You're going to bring it about to where your right hand just was. So now you're going to take your right arm and lift it up in the air. Now, if you can make your lunge a little bit longer, I'd like you to try to do that. But don't drop down in your left hip. You want to lift the inner thighs on both legs. I am facing away from you because I want you to see that I have my chest open still as I take the right arm up and over. Holy side bend Batman. Ooh, lift those inner thighs. This is the doozy. Exhale. And take the hand down. I'm gonna pull that right leg back. We'll come back to table pose, wiggle some stuff out. Oh, all right, well, we have another side. Bring your left foot up, and you might bring it more forward, which also might mean that your right hand goes more forward, and then the left arm comes up. Could you see that? I didn't let the back drop when I went into that side bend. I'll lift my inner thighs. Don't let the hips drop over anywhere. I lift it in the center. And then arm comes up and, oh man. Whew. All right, can I get my knee up? Okay. So back in child's pose for a moment. You're going to flip your palms up and wiggle the fingers out if that is appealing to you. Okay. I'm sure you anticipated this. One more down dog. This is going to be like the longest, most open spine down dog that you can access today. You never know what it's going to be like another day or how it has been. Let's go on up there. Try lifting the heels, lift the hips, keep the hips lifted, drop the heels down. Oh my gosh. Relax the head, all 10 of those fingertips. One more exhale. And then the knees rest on down. We're going to come to a seat. Go ahead and swing your legs out in front of you. I guess I'll face you here. Good. I will mirror you. Go ahead and take your right leg up. You can leave it here. You can cross it over. Lift your left toes. Keep that leg nice and long to help instigate the spine to stay nice and long. Hug your thigh. Right arm back behind you nice and close. Get up tall in the ears. And then soft in the belly as you twist. And pull the thigh into the center line. Open the chest, breathe in. Soften the lower ribs in, breathe out. 2 more times. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, soften the center. 1 more breath. Release your twist. You unwind your leg and then wrap it up on the other side. So you're gonna take your left leg in, cross it over if you like, lift your right toes, left arm in nice and close, hug the thigh, keep pulling it to center line, lift behind the ears when you inhale, exhale, soften around your center. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then unwind yourself. You're going to take the soles of the feet in together and the knees out wide and then coming forward, just kind of noticing if this feels better, worse, different, not at all, who knows, the same than when we began our practice here, relaxing the back forward. One more breath out. And start to lift yourself up. I'm going to take the legs out wide. And then try to extend the body forward, just kind of checking it out. You can always, hands back here is a great option. If you can get your hands even just a little bit in front of you to relax forward, it might match our focus in the body a little bit more today. It doesn't matter how much your legs are getting stretched. Big exhale. And walking it back. You're gonna take your, what am I doing? Taking the left leg in, you're gonna turn over your right leg and then soften your back forward. And don't worry at all about how far you get. Relax yourself into this. Find a place where there is a softening and not a lurching or grabbing or disregard for where your body's at today. One more exhale. Start to lift yourself up. I'm gonna come to face forward, slide your right hand down, keep that left hip rooted, and reach up and over through that side. Big breath in. Big breath out. Lift yourself up. We're gonna take Stargazer. You're gonna plant this hand down, get up onto your shin, lift up long through that top side, just briefly. And then soften your hips back down. You're gonna extend this leg out. We're gonna take a side bend up and over to that side again. Keep your toes lifted and your hip dropping. Exhale. And then come on up. And wiggle your shoulders, maybe bobble your head for a moment. And then take your right leg, fold it in. We're gonna soften the body forward over that left side. Notice I'm softening inwards a lot more rather than trying to reach and go forward, because this is my hamstring that is less than pleased with me. Although I went to go see my friend to work me out a little bit today, and it definitely feels a little bit better, even if it isn't as loose as I want it to be. It is what it currently is, and that is what I am working with. One more breath, softening with your exhale. And start to walk it up. Turn your face forward, slide your arm out, reach up and over. Relaxing that right hip downwards. Oh, man. Exhale. And coming up, hand goes down, roll up onto the shin, hips go up, reach out nice and long. One more inhale. And then softening the hips back down. You know, extend the legs out, and then taking an arm up and over. Oh, wow. That was a change. Chest is open, forward still. Relax that right hip down. Back up. And then we're gonna come forward again. Oh, wow. Oh, relax that back. Let yourself soften. One more exhale. And then start to walk it back. We're going to come down onto our backs for a moment, but we're going to sit back up again. You're going to come on down, bring your knees into your chest, rock and roll, whatever is calling to you. And you'll set your feet down. Take your right ankle and put it on your left knee. Turn that knee forward. Keep the right foot flat. Notice where your hips are down into the floor. In fact, can you press your hips down towards the floor just a little bit more? That'll be more of your focus, if you choose, to take the leg up is to press those hips down. Oh man, my hips are open from all this. We were open in the lower back a lot. Also probably warm, being that the terrible weather didn't actually happen. It was a lovely week. Yay! A few more breaths. Releasing your left foot down. You're going to keep the shape, just tilt over till your right foot comes onto the floor. I want you to put your left hand at your right hip so you can gently press that hip or that leg bone away from you just a little bit. Just kind of giving it that little boost. You can open your right arm if you like. Oh man. There is some stuff in there. One more exhale. And unwind your leg, come back to center. Ooh. We'll take the left ankle onto the right knee. Now first, flex your left foot and then feel your hips pressing downwards. So rather than trying to curl everything in, when you get up there, you're gonna press those hips downwards. And then let's work through that. Go ahead and grab onto that right thigh and press those hips downwards. Ooh. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And go ahead and release your right foot down. You can tilt the left foot down to the floor. You're going to take your right hand and just gently move that hip out and away from you. And open the left arm out if it feels nice. One more breath in. One more breath out. And unwind the legs. You're going to bring them back to center and start to stretch out nice and long. Reaching your arms back behind you. Exhale, soften. Your knees, then go ahead and rock yourself up to a seat. If you have a small pillow or a yoga block or anything that you would use to get through cow face pose without making a cow face, you can go ahead and grab that. We're gonna hold it for kind of a bit. So this is how we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna grab my pillow just because I'm gonna be kind to myself. I like to cross one knee behind the other, separate the feet, and then sit back on something. So I'm not sitting on this heel, right? Now you can do like cow face arms in this opposite here. You could fake it. You could just have your hands on your knee. You could yell at me for suggesting such a thing. And then we're just gonna hang out and breathe for a moment. If you wanna come forward, you can. There's a lot in this shape. You might take the bottom leg and extend it out if that's gonna help you have more even space through your hips. You might put additional things underneath your hips. Some of us can kind of separate the feet. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm not in the habit of doing that. It's a thing. But moving the feet a little further. Oh my. So many feelings in the hips. I've had a lot of feelings I've been carrying around in my, like the back of my ribs, back in my shoulder blades. And those got worked out today, and now apparently I've put them here. Need to work on that. Just being with the breath. It was some of the personal grief that I've been working through lately is two friends of mine. One of them, he passed away a couple months ago, and another is just choosing not to be around right now. And it's been interesting trying to approach that with like, I can't fight either of those realities. So what do I do with them? There have been many answers. Love and patience are definitely topping the list of the effective strategies. Breathing. Being with it, not being in denial of it. Can I be with it even in the uncomfortable places, just like cow face, because I don't think this is comfortable for anybody. There's so much outer hip work that gets tucked into here. Yeah, it's worth being in the uncomfortable places, at least for a little bit. One more exhale. Oh man. Like, am I gonna get stuck there forever? No, thankfully not. There's a little windshield wipering of your hips, of your legs. What are those? I don't know. These things. The whole lower body. Do this. And like I said, I like to get in from up on top. So we were, you could just have your legs crossed and like squeeze your knees together. I like to come up where I have my knees together and then come back down. I just feel like there's something about that that really helps to bring the legs more together. Oh my goodness. I was about to say, this is fine. That might be denial. Oh, this is intense, but I am okay. Something a friend of mine said a few years back. She says, I have 100% success rate of getting through difficult circumstances so far. I just have to choose to believe that that is going to continue to be the case. I have survived cow face pose 100% of the time so far. Even if I have to pull back at some point, which is totally okay to do, to modify, to adjust, to bring extra props. You do not need to suffer unnecessarily when it would behoove you, and it is possible to make adaptations to your situation. It's like if you're feeling lonely and sad and you have the opportunity to get a hug, just get the effing hug. You know? An extra pillow under your hips or unwinding the bottom leg can be a hug. It helps. We learn to breathe in uncomfortable places on our yoga mat so that we are better prepared to breathe in uncomfortable places off of our yoga mats, because we don't necessarily need to or want to go seeking discomfort and grief. But if we greet it honestly and be with it when it comes up, we are that much more prepared for the next time, because there's always going to be a next time. Give yourself one more beautiful full breath. And start to unwind those creaky legs, and then go ahead and wiggle them back and forth again. I'm going to come into deer pose. Come off of whatever you were just sitting on, and then set your legs up in this pinwheel shape, right? So you've got one shin parallel to the long end and one shin parallel to the short end. That might be reversed for you depending on how you are on your mat space. And you're going to leave this knee down. If you have to lift the hip up, that's what you do. Might come down onto your forearms. Oh, I'm going to adjust so that my tailbone points down towards that foot, this foot. Yeah. Maybe you lay on down. Oh man. You stop at the appropriate bus stop for you. It's not about what it looks like. It is about creating a space where we can breathe. You don't need to go diving headfirst into worse. One more breath. And then depending on how far down you are, whatever leg that's the foot is tucked up back next to you, take that arm, cross it over, and doggy paddle your way up here. And we'll find the other side. Oh, good. Awesome timing. Good. You're going to set yourself up. You don't have this foot in close to your hip. You've got some space. This hip can lift up. Try not to lift the knee. I'm going to adjust so my tailbone faces down that way because I know, or I'm pretty sure, yep, on the other side it was good. It's going to be good on this side because this is my knee that isn't super strange. The front of that hip open up. Breathe into that space. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, inhale. One more exhale. And take the arm, cross it over so that you can doggy paddle your way up. And then we're going to come down onto our back. So if there's something you want around for Shavasana, make that happen. And then come in, knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug, roll around. Open your arms and roll your knees over towards the right side. Soften your belly, let the left ribs roll open. Maybe you look over towards the left or up. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. And take your knees up, look up, roll your knees over towards the other side. You might need to adjust your ribs or your body in some way. Look up or over towards the right. Soften your belly every time you breathe out.
One more round of breath.
And come back to the center. Set your feet down, knock your knees against each other. Inquire if there is anything else you need to finish off your practice. Finding that for yourself if there is something, and finding stillness if there is not. So you stay here, or you start to roll out into Shavasana. Maybe wiggle your shoulders under. Allow your heart to be soft. Rest well. start to come back to your body. Breathing a bit deeper, soaking in the sensations that come up. Moving a bit if you're called to. Maybe reaching your arms overhead, extending the body out long. Take a full inhale wherever you're at, and as you exhale, really allow yourself to let go. As you roll over to your side, curl inwards for a moment, just giving gratitude for taking this time for yourself, for being able to gather together, and eventually coming up to your own version of a comfortable seat. Hands together at your heart. We seal practice, releasing and Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to the love inside of each of our hearts, the light and the darkness within us. Namaste. Walking on the knees.
So much, April.
Thank you. Have a great day, Kelly. Thanks for being here. And Kat, Rachel, and Jonah. Have wonderful days. Let me know if you have questions about anything, friends. Did it sound cool with us? Like, I heard somebody owned, like somebody wasn't muted and they owned. Was that cool? I liked it. It was fine. Does it sound weird? I'm gonna listen to the recording. Might actually have us do that, because that was kind of neat. I like it. What the heck is going on outside the street? Oh my gosh. Share it on this day. I like it. I think I might do that. I'm gonna say like, all right, everybody unmute, and then we can like all on together. Alright. Have a great week, everybody. Let me know if anything comes up. Okay.